both the papers, two of the papers this morning, look at what happens to an empire at war, and basically in the aftermath of the French and Indian War, of course, you have Somerset's case in England, which to some extent frees some people. Let's not go beyond that for now. And then you have abolition in the North in a gradual way, but to some extent frees some people. And for many years, I think, and this is just based on an old man's impression of things he's read over his life, people made a big deal about that. Isn't it wonderful they're finally starting to free people? But what the papers I heard this morning suggest is that you've got a little bit of this, but you also have a lot of consolidation of the slave system with the expansion of the British Empire throughout the world, with the fact that the West Indies retain their importance in Parliament. In fact, Alan Carris's book, which I don't know if anyone's read, is how during the French and Indian War, the 7 Years' War, the British and the Spanish actually work out a deal to return each other's escaped slaves to each other because they don't want the war going to this particular level. So, in other words, when we talk about the American Revolution or the development of the British Empire, and I don't mean once the abolitionist movement gets started, but say late 18th century, how should we weigh the fact that there is some movement against slavery with the fact, which is a matter of ideas, it seems. I mean, nobody's defending slavery at this time like they're defending slavery in 1840 and 1850. Weigh the beginnings of the inroads against slavery against the power, which is the economic and political fact that the slave systems are being reinforced through expansion and government power. So that's my question and comment.
It depends on why you're weighing it. I mean, I think so much of these discussions are taking place or being people who today want a triumphant story, a story that makes them feel better about what happened during that time period, to ameliorate the situation, to ameliorate guilt. We'll say the glass is half full. We'll weigh things by talking about the fact that there was, gradual emancipation, there was, liberalization of emancipation in Virginia. We'll focus on those kinds of things. People who don't care one way or another are just reporting it. I guess what I'm getting at is I don't understand, other than reporting what happened, what talks about what happening, I think the weighing comes in when you're trying to decide how you want to feel about these people. And it's not clear to me that, I'm not doing this right, that we should feel one way or another.
What I was getting at is how important is gradual emancipation in the war?
It's important. I mean, I'm sorry. Maybe I was reading it. No, but I think it's an important thing, but you shouldn't overemphasize it. And it certainly, gradual emancipation, I think goes back to what I'm saying before about my obsession with white supremacy. Yeah, gradual emancipation where you don't have huge numbers of blacks, when blacks are not a physical threat. This whole discussion that takes place is if the numbers of black people in a particular place don't matter, which goes directly to how these people are feeling, how white supremacy works. And so, yeah, it means something, but it means something within the context of a society that's in the grips of this idea that we can't be outnumbered, we can't be dominated, we can't be. And so, yeah, I think it's important to report on it, but I do think what I was saying before, the weighing comes in if people have a particular, I hate the word agenda, but a particular preference about how they want to view the revolution as something that's triumphant or something that just happened or something that was horrible. However you feel about that, I think if you're going to be weighing things, you will weigh it differently.
one of the things which I think is difficult to measure is how that tendency in terms of the progressive emancipation operates in peacetime and the sort of rupture that occurs during war. One of the very interesting things about Matthew's paper is that it suggests that because there's an absence of any stable circulating medium, and even whiskey, because of the disruption in grain production, can't operate as a substitute, African American slaves become the circulating medium. And that, of course, means that the coercive power to maintain their value as slaves is clamped down. And that's a very interesting insight, I thought.